Wayne Hall, who is a retired journalist. And so he's not going to write about the meeting, I don't believe, but I just wanted you to know that he used to be with the Times Herald Record. And does the Times Herald Record get distributed in Rockland County at all? Just wondered.
I'm not sure, actually.
Oh,
No,
no, that's the Rockland County Journal.
yeah.
Last night I was at a very interesting. I'm going to just briefly tell you. There was a group called Solar. The solar boat that came down from Albany, yeah. Sea Change Voyage. And they had a program on the Hudson near the rowing club, which is also near the sewage treatment plant. The decision was made at the end of the evening not to have this program near there again because it was downwind of the sewage treatment plant, which wasn't terrible, but it was noticeable. And I spoke there along with other people. Have you been following James Cornwall and the CPV plant? If you heard about the CPV plant issue, raise your hands. Okay, good. And so it was a very interesting evening. It was also a very spiritual evening in a different kind of way. There was a speaker, amazing woman. There was a speaker who had been to the Amazon. She had been raised locally. I think she was from Long Island and Brooklyn. And she was very upset and moved as a child by the PCB contamination in the river. And she wanted to go to a place where there was not a contaminant, and she picked the Amazon. So she shared, she was amazing. Bring tears to your eyes. She also was a fabulous singer. So she did poetry, she did song, and talked about her experiences in the Amazon in Peru, and the customs that were engaged in. I'm looking for this word. The rituals that were engaged in by local people that had to do with the river. And so the kinds of experiences were in some way, I think, related to indigenous people everywhere. The connection, essentially, it's the connection to nature. If I'm making that point. It's the connection to nature. And the contrast between indigenous people and white people, of course, speaking very broadly, in the sense that white people are not, generally speaking, as connected to nature because there is this disconnect with our modern conveniences and so on. Anyway, we are all of us being brought very quickly back to the basics. The reason we're being brought back to the basics is because we are being treated in this country like a colonial power, like a colony. The colonial power is the oil and gas industry, and Trump, as far as I can see, represents their interests in every way, every day. So we have the fossil fuel industry treating us here in our own communities as they have previously treated people in other countries, notably South America, Africa, countries there, Middle East, and the exploitation and the pollution has been elsewhere. Well, now it's here. And our water is threatened. And our air is getting messed up. And our food supply is being manipulated in ways that are harmful for us. We're in a fight, basically, for quality of life, and the term quality of life has a new meaning now, and a very real meaning. It's not just a phrase, quality of life. it is in fact very graphic and very concrete. So when this pipeline was proposed, the Pilgrim Pipeline, which is several years now, and it came out, sort of morphed into different kinds of things. I remember I read something in the paper about a pipeline that was proposed for Route 32 in Orange County. Well, of course, that turned out to be the same group that proposed the pipeline, finally settled on sending it down the thruway through Rockland and, well, not the entire distance, as you all know, but anyway, on the thruway through New York, and then south through Rockland and New Jersey, and so on. That was really coming into the fore back in 2015. And we were starting to get concerned. Everyone was starting to get concerned. And as a result, the New Jersey and New York CAPP, Coalition Against Pilgrim Pipelines, was formed. And some of us in Orange County became concerned as well. I had a previous organization, well, it's not previous because I'm still with it, but I was an environmental, I would say, leader of a group that saved lands near Stewart Airport. So we had had, and I'm speaking of 7,000 acres, lots of land, and we were in fact successful. I don't know if we'd be successful today, but we had some lawsuits with the Jews at that point, and we had a lot of support. So there is a 7,000-acre Stewart State Forest that has been established. But coming from that was an awareness of fracking. That organization that I was the head of supported the anti-fracking campaign, and then out of the anti-fracking campaign, which is also part of the colonialization of our country, if you will, out of that came an awareness and a realization of the connection to pipelines, and how pipelines were now the current threat. They were now the current fingers of this dirty endeavor to keep us using these dirty fuels, reaching into our communities and actually suggesting that, well, why are we criticizing this? Aren't we using it after all other options had been cut off? I mean, one cute little fact is that back at the turn of the century, when Henry Ford started his, cars for the common people, they actually had an electric car, and the electric car could have been advanced, and in fact, a conscious decision was made to go with gasoline-powered cars. Why? Because then they could make money on gasoline and the oil, so on and so forth. But getting back to the present. So when we realized that this pipeline was actually proposed for our area, and when we began to see through our research how dangerous and how invariably polluting pipelines were, we had to do something. So I formed a group called Orange Residents Against Pilgrim Pipeline. And that's how I got to meet Kieran and Kieran's mother, a lot of other people.